The Aaron Rodgers situation is kind of in a weird spot right now, so I wanted to kind of go over what I think the future looks like for Aaron Rodgers at this point. And this is something that I've been thinking about for past couple of months here, ever since the season ended and after hearing some of these rumors. So the only team that Aaron Rodgers is getting any buzz from at all is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, he's been there. He's talked with Tomlin. Believe he flew to the facility at one point. And still no signing. Obviously, you saw in the draft, the Steelers went ahead, picked up Will Howard, a quarterback, in, I believe, the sixth round. And I think that's a good model for them. Will Howard, Big Ben, some similarities there. But if you look at Aaron Rodgers here at this point, they're still saying it's a possibility. And, I think at this point, it'd be best if Aaron Rodgers hung up the cleats. I think it's time for him to retire. And I say this because Aaron Rodgers would need to go to a situation, in my opinion, at this point in his career. Like, let's think about it here. He's got 1, maybe 2 years if he had a great year, 2 years maximum of a window. He needs to go somewhere that he could actually win a Super Bowl with. Let's be honest with this Pittsburgh Steelers team. The offensive personnel, although it has gotten better, is not there because you have to look at the coaches that are involved here. It's not a win. It's not a win a Super Bowl setup for him. He is not that level of quarterback anymore where he's going to go in there and he's going to save the offense. He needs an established offense with an established running back, established receivers. That's why I said if he went to Minnesota, go ahead, run that, give that a shot. You have Justin Jefferson. You have a great head coach that knows offense. That's the key thing, knows offense. The Steelers have been somewhat offensively illiterate for decades now. That's the reason you're wondering why they can't win playoff games. It's because they're they don't score enough points in the postseason. That's the issue. The old phrase that defense wins championships, let's look back at it here. I believe only one number one defense in the past 10 years has won the Super Bowl, and that's the Denver Broncos. That's it. And not to mention that team, although he was pretty washed at the time, they had Peyton Manning, which I guess you could say the 2015 Peyton Manning and Rodgers, if you went into the Steelers system, would be the same thing. But defense does not necessarily win championships anymore. It's an old trope that has went over. Very offensive league now. Like I said, if you went to Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell and those weapons and you saw them win all those games last year, yeah, sure, I'd say run that. But if he's going to go to Pitt, it's only going to make him look worse because it would be a circus there. Let's be honest here. It would be. And I think that Aaron Rodgers is at a point right now where it's the enigma. He's looking more at exterior factors and other things outside of the NFL, outside of that. And I think he's a person that really, deep down, I believe he cares about it, but I don't know how much that he fully is bought into it at this point. And you look at his numbers, even his last year in Green Bay before the injury, he had dipped. He had dipped that year. They didn't make the postseason. The injury, especially the injury he sustained, the torn Achilles at his age, no one has ever at that age come back from it and had the same production. It's an injury. I was talking to someone the other day, and it's a different injury, but it's the same concept. I was talking to somebody that tore their ACL when they were in college, and they just talked about how difficult it was, what they had to overcome with it. And this is like a 19-year-old, and they're talking about how they had to overcome it, what they had to do, how long it took. Sometimes they were never the same. Then you put that into perspective of like a 35-year-old, different recovery process, completely different recovery process. You just don't make it back from it. Now, he started to turn it on a little bit. And I don't know why this wasn't predicted earlier. I think this is something that a lot of people breeze past with the first half of the season with the Jets. It's like he's not going to start that season and have good production. It just wasn't going to happen. Let's be honest here. It never has happened. Towards the end, turned it on a little bit, but at that point, everything was cooked. There wasn't enough, and he had a good backfield and receiving core by the end of that. You had Breece Hall in the backfield, Devontae Adams on one side, Garrett Wilson. Like, he had that, and he wasn't able to sustain with that. He goes to Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's kind of a mess offensively, in my opinion. You have DK Metcalf's a really good receiver, and George Pickens a really good receiver. Their character is just not there. It's not there. And now the two of them are it's not going to go too well. The O-line for Pittsburgh has had its issues. So at this point, if you're talking legacy-wise and career-wise, he doesn't have anything left to prove. He's never going to be in the class of Tom Brady. He's never going to be in the class of Joe Montana. He's just not going to get there. It's not going to happen. He doesn't have the time to win the Super Bowls. Him winning one more Super Bowl would do somewhat for his legacy. I don't know if it does that much. He has the one title. It is crazy that throughout that entire run, he only got to one Super Bowl. The fact that he only got to one Super Bowl is really, really crazy the more you think about it. But his career at this point is set in stone. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's got $250 million that he's earned from this. He's going to make money after it. I just think at this point, you're only hurting your legacy. And Aaron Rodgers, when he was able to play, and you look at Aaron Rodgers too, you look at what was he best at? And he was best at sometimes extending plays, those Hail Marys. He is the best Hail Mary long ball accuracy thrower in NFL history. He is. But he couldn't do that now. There's no way he could do that now. He can't extend plays like he used to be able to do. He had abilities that he just doesn't have right now. You take that away, and he's still a good pocket quarterback, but there are so many better ones at this point now, and he's just at a point in his career where it's time to wrap it up. I mean, there's just not much more from a production standpoint that he can do, and especially if he goes to a team like Pittsburgh, I just don't think it's going to work out. And now they've drafted Will Howard, and Will Howard, that city is going to love Will Howard. They're going to boost him up. There's going to be controversies. You don't want that if you're Aaron Rodgers. If I was Aaron Rodgers, if you do plan on coming back, the only way I would do it is wait for a Super Bowl contender, wait for somebody to get hurt. That's the only way. Like, the Rams would be a good fit for him. As I said, Minnesota would be a good fit for him. But outside of that, and you look at it, he did everything wrong. He made the wrong decision when he left Green Bay to go to the Jets. Defensive head coach, number one. Number two, a lot of young offensive players. Tom Brady, he knew what he was doing. He went to Tampa Bay. They were a team that was just a quarterback away, offensive-minded scheme. You had veteran receivers in Mike Evans, who's probably a future Hall of Famer, should be, we'll see, and Chris Godwin. You had those guys, and they had a little bit of other guys. You brought in Gronk. There was things you did, and it was so much smarter, so much more thought out. And Brady had the buy-in. He had the buy-in from the start. He was taking pay cuts. That's the difference between them at the end of the day. And I'm a Rodgers guy. I like Aaron Rodgers. I think that talent-wise, what he showed, some of his tape is the best we've ever seen. But the difference was the mentality. And Tom Brady went in there and he played to win. Got close with people in the locker room. And number one, he showed up to the training camps, took care of his teammate. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is a bad teammate. That's not what I'm saying. But when you're sitting where he was sitting somewhere at the start of training camp last year, it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're the quarterback of this team. The quarterback of a team is like, if you were to go on the scale of things, you got the owner obviously up top, then you have the GM, who the owner is like the CEO, the GM is like the chief advisor, head coach is the excessive project manager, and then you have the captain, then you have the lead manager. And that's what you have to be if you're Aaron Rodgers. You have to be a leader among men. And that's just not what he showed when he did that. Now, I'm not saying, as I said, he is a good mentor, Like to Bryce Young, to Jordan Love, and to Zach Wilson, he was very good to him. And the reason he was is because Brett Favre treated him like crap. So he wanted to change that up. I'm not saying that that's what the problem is. I'm saying the problem in general is not showing up to OTAs and training camp when you're trying to do something, especially coming off the injury that he came off of. It was mind-boggling. It was mind-boggling, and that's the decision that he made. Those are the decisions that he made. And that's why at this point in time, I think it's his best bet to retire. And if he wants to be remembered better than what he would be if he plays for another year or two with the Steelers, he's going to retire now, and it should be the right play.